We'd like you to meet Danielle and her mother, Jacqueline. 8 months ago, Jacqueline's 17-year-old daughter died after being stabbed 50 times. Jacqueline and Danielle told us that there's absolutely no answer, no reason, no rhyme to any of this whatsoever. And having looked at the case, none of it makes sense at all. Obviously, they can't rest till they know what happened and why. Before we talk about the day, tell me about her. This is not somebody who had enemies.
No, she didn't.
17 years old.
Yeah.
Involved with anyone?
No, she
Drugs?
was dating. No. There were a lot of girls that were jealous of her because she was so pretty and so full of fun.
But nothing that was beyond a teenage type of thing?
Nothing.
Now, Danielle, your mother had to move and your sister lived with you for a while.
Yeah.
Till mother got settled.
Yeah.
Then she went back to live with her mother a few months before she was murdered, but she stayed with you. While she was with you, did she encounter any enemies, anything?
No. She went out with her best friend, April. She loved everybody.
And just as she comes to live with you, a terrible thing happens. What?
My husband died less than 3 weeks after she came. And she and I both were very bothered by it. And we both were just starting to feel human again and starting to come out of the sadness and depression.
But it made you closer, the two of you.
Yeah, in fact, just a week or so before she was murdered, she saw this commercial on television about a mom and a mom.
And trying to solve themselves an unsolved mystery. This is Nicole. Now, in Nicole's story, there are many more clues. Am I right, Dorothy?
Yeah.
Many more clues. What happened to her is just terrible. A few months ago, she was kidnapped at gunpoint and raped. Since then, naturally, she lives in constant fear. You see, she doesn't know who did this to her or if the person will come back and do it again. Let's go over that day, Nicole, no matter how difficult I know this is. You're married, and you have now an 18-month-old son.
Yes.
And this was your son's first birthday, February 13th, 1997. It was not a particularly good day because a friend of yours had just died in a car crash, right?
Yes.
And you weren't feeling too swift. And your boss walked you to your van to say goodbye so you could come home and celebrate your son's first birthday. Were all the windows closed in the van?
Yes, and
Had
it
you
was
started
locked.
and it was locked? The car was locked and the windows were closed?
Yes.
You got into the car. Did you open the windows?
No.
But you started to smell something weird.
I started to drive home, and then I smelled it again, and it was really strong. It was like, it's like really bad breath. And there was a man in my van with a ski mask on, and
in the back seat.
I assume he was right behind my seat. That's why I didn't see him when I turned around.
Now this is just 12 weeks ago. 2.5 months ago, her 18-year-old daughter, Kristen, vanished without a trace. She had been spending the summer in San Francisco as part of her college design program.
That's right.
Okay. And you told us that you really didn't want her to go on this trip. She was going on a trip.
Yes, it was a trip of her own design. The professors at the university encouraged the scholar students to design their own summer programs to get real-life experiences in the real world. And she had designed this program, had written it up, and it was approved and encouraged by her professors. And when she came to tell us about, my husband and I, about her trip, I had a bad feeling about it, a worried feeling.
And then you got a call that changed your life forever. What happened?
Well, a girlfriend of Kristen's wanted to go visit her in San Francisco and had made plans to do that, and she couldn't reach Kristen, so she called me to find out what her schedule was. And I tried to call her at the house where she was living and only got the answering machine. And at that point I was very worried because I couldn't reach her housemates. So my husband emailed the housemate, and they told us that she had been missing for a couple of days, and they were also worried.
So her housemates just email you back, girl missing for a few days. You got on a plane immediately with your husband. You went to San Francisco. You searched day and night for 2 weeks. You never stopped for lunch. In fact, you wore out your sneakers. You walked so much. You had detectives, private investigators, and psychics working with you. You had bloodhounds.
That's right.
You tried to follow her scent.
And they did pick up her scent.
They picked it up.
They picked up her scent.
Now it is that they say. We'll be right back.
Heavenly Father, we pray for the safe return of Kristen, our daughter, our sister, our granddaughter, our friend, and your child. Protect her and keep her from harm. Amen.
Good night, sweet. Night, Lauren. Sleep well.
In February, she says she feels that part of her died along with her friend, and she wonders how she'll ever be able to go on in life without her friend. She wrote us a letter. I'd like you to hear the letter that Jennifer wrote to us.
Dear Sally, hello. My name is Jennifer, and I am a 16-year-old. I am writing to you to ask a huge favor. On February 15th, 1997, my best friend and I were in a horrible car accident, and Bree died. She was the light of my life, and we were inseparable, and I thought we'd be together forever. Everyone tells me to keep going on in my life, but it is very hard. I've come to the decision to help myself keep going on, to do things she wanted us to do. But I need to know if this is what she would want. I must ask the psychic if she's okay and what Bree wants from me now that she's gone. I want to make her proud. Thank you. Love, Jennifer.
Jennifer, are you an only child?
Yes.
And you and Bree were like sisters. In her heart that her son, who would now be 11, is still alive. She's devoted her life to finding her son and will not rest until he is back with her. Take me back to the day he disappeared. You were in the kitchen. I'll help you with this. It was December 1st, 1992. You had a 6-year-old. He left the front door of your home, and you were in the kitchen cooking dinner, and it was about 4:30 at night. Good. He went out to play, and you went to tell him dinner was ready.
Right.
And it's every mother's nightmare. You go outside to tell your son dinner's ready, and there is no child. He was nowhere to be found. Are there any clues or leads as to what happened? Did anyone see him playing?
There was a couple construction workers down the street.